In this video, I'm going to break down how to become a blue-collar millionaire in 5 years or less. And what you need to realize right off the bat, guys, is that there's really two paths that you can potentially go down in life. One path allows you to, over time, build wealth, and after about 5 years, you become a potential millionaire. The other path will leave you working many decades, constantly busy, but never able to really get ahead. Okay, so let's pull up a chart so that you can see the two different paths that you can potentially go down. And we'll first start with the side of the chart that you don't want to go down, guys. We're going to call this category the busybody category. And in this category, you're going to be waking up every day and you are trading your time for money. That is what you don't want to be doing. So there's really two professions that you can run after that will cause you to be a busybody, constantly busy, but never able to get ahead. The first is to become an employee. Okay? If you're an employee working for somebody else, you are trading your time for money, and somebody else is getting wealthy off of your time for money. The other option is that you're self-employed, and self-employed really isn't much better because you're basically just owning your own job, but you're still trading time for money. Okay, so this is the category that you want to stay out of. You don't want to be an employee, you don't want to be self-employed, just working for yourself, trading time for money in that scenario as well. Let's jump into the other side of this chart, the category that you really want to be in, because this is where you can build wealth. Okay, so jumping into the second category, which we're going to call it the builder category. Guys, this is the category you want to be in. This category, businesses and assets are what are making you money, not your time for money, okay? So the first thing that you can potentially do is you can own a business. You own a system, people work for you, and as that system starts to evolve and develop, it will start to run itself, and down the road, you can potentially sell that system to somebody that wants a business that's just running on its own, okay? You can't sell a business where you're the only person in the business. You can sell a business where you have employees working for you and they run a system. The second thing that you're gonna be doing in this category is you're gonna become an investor. And investors put their money to work for them. So money works for you, okay? So if you wanna build wealth, if you wanna become a blue-collar millionaire, you need to figure out how to build a business that has employees in a system that runs itself, and you need to become an investor where you take your extra money and you invest into things so that your money is working for you. And so for the purpose of this video, we're only gonna focus on the builder side of this chart. The two things that can potentially build your wealth and make you a blue-collar millionaire. Let's jump into it. Also, if you're new to the channel, my name is Adam Zwingler, and this channel is dedicated to helping you get into businesses that are in blue-collar work, because there's a ton of opportunity in blue-collar work right now, guys. There's all these younger generations don't want to do blue-collar work. So the people that own these businesses are going to be able to charge a ton of money because there isn't going to be enough businesses providing blue-collar work. So if you're interested in learning how to start a business in blue-collar, scale it up potentially to maybe $10 million in annual revenue, which I think is entirely possible if you have the right vision and the right motivation, then consider liking and subscribing. Okay, so you becoming a blue-collar millionaire is ultimately going to boil down to how successful you are at doing two things. You have to first build the right kind of business. And second, you need to figure out how to get your money working for you in the right investments. Okay, and by the way, these don't have to be two separate things. You can actually start a business that is building a system and investing at the same time. In fact, sometimes those are the best kinds of businesses. But in your scenario, and a lot of times with blue-collar work, the two are separate. You build some sort of a big business that's worth a couple $1 million, and then you take the money from there and you invest it and get it to work over here, right? So the two might be separate, or really smart, you might figure out how to get the two to be one, and then you're building them within themselves, right? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break down the 5 years individually, because I know for me, that's exactly how I would learn best. I wanna see, what do I need to do in year 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 5, show me exactly what I need to do so I know what I need to execute on. But before we do that, let's take a look at 4 blunt truths that you need to know before we get going. The first is, you need to focus on one thing. Don't get into a business and try to do a million things. Don't start an e-commerce brand and try to sell 50,000 products. You sell one product, right? And you do it really well. And I wouldn't even recommend e-commerce. We're doing blue collar here, okay? So you need to figure out one thing. What is your one thing? Are you doing plumbing? Are you going to specialize in just doing service on flagpoles? I mean, literally you can do anything. And as long as you focus on one thing, you can build it really big and you can be very successful at it. Also, this is going to be really hard, guys. Don't think that this is an easy thing. This is 5 years of really difficult times, really challenging things. Your first million is really hard to build, okay? Expect it to be hard. Thirdly, get up early. I'm just such a believer in getting up early. I get up at 3 a.m. and I get a jump start on my day. It's allowed me to run multiple businesses at one time. It's allowed me to scale multiple organizations. It just gives me an edge on everybody around me. Get up early. Figure out how to become an early riser. 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. You will be a lot more successful if you get up early. Even if you're not a morning person, you can learn how to become a morning person. Learn how to become a morning person. I just highly suggest it. And then fourth, you need to get rid of the pollution in your mind, guys. If you're vaping, if you're smoking, if you're drinking alcohol, even just on a small level, even caffeine, guys, caffeine, sugar, whatever you're putting in your body, I mean, anything that's polluting your mind, guys, building a business is like becoming an athlete. And if you want to perform at a high level, your body should be clear and ready to go, right? So just like an athlete has to get rid of all this pollution and crap in their body and in their mind, you should also be doing the same thing if you want to build a successful business, okay? Let's jump into the chart that breaks down the 5 years and what you should be doing in each of those 5 years. Also, just a quick mention, the website that's tied to this YouTube channel, guys, which is buildupuniversity.com, offers 2 services. We offer a cheap, inexpensive website. It's a very nice, high quality website that we can build for you. It usually only takes us 2 or 3 weeks to build it. There's a couple really nice templates out there that you can check out. And the other thing that we have out there on the website is a 1-hour consulting call that you can have with me, where you can schedule the call and we can sit down and we can strategize about your business. We can help you figure out what business to start, or we can help you figure out how to scale a business that you already have running. All right? Okay, so here's a high-level overview of a 5-year plan to become a millionaire in blue-collar work, okay? So in year 1, you're gonna start your business, whatever that business is gonna be. You're gonna potentially do maybe $200,000 in revenue. If you don't really know what you're doing, maybe $200,000 in revenue. Keep in mind, if you know what you're doing, you could be doing $500 or $1 million in revenue on year 1, if you know what you're doing, but let's just assume you don't. So $200,000 of revenue. You want to focus on large ticket sales or reoccurring business models, okay? Where you can either sell something that's really big and really expensive and you make good profit on one sale, or some sort of a reoccurring business model where as you acquire customers, they're continuing to pay you month after month after month, okay? You want to improve your skills in year 1 and you want to hire your first employee with an emphasis on the right employee. You might have to hire and fire quite a few people to get to the right employee, but you need to get your first employee. Remember, at the end of the day, part of what you're trying to do here is you have to build a business that runs itself, and you can't get there until you build a team, until you hire a certain amount of employees, usually 5 to 10 employees, okay? So you've got to figure out how to hire your first employee, get them working in the business, and start selling more, okay? In year 2, you're going to do potentially $350,000 in revenue, okay? And what you're doing in year 2 is you're starting to improve your systems, you're hiring more employees, and you're expanding your customer base. So you're just doing a lot of the same stuff that you did in year 1, but you're just getting smarter, more efficient. You're bringing on more people on the team to help you do more things, okay? Let's jump into year 3. In year 3, you're gonna be doing $500,000 in revenue. In year 3, here's what you're doing. You're getting rid of yourself as the operator of the business. You're gonna hire a key employee, somebody that's going to be the core operator, and that person is going to start running the business moving forward. You're going to focus on sales. You're going to double down on sales, grow the business more through sales. You're going to focus on more marketing, and you're going to focus on consistent quality service. Okay, guys? So in these first 3 years, you're really only building the business, okay? But in year 3, you're going to also start to work on becoming an investor. You're going to start figuring out how to pull money off the business that you can start investing into other things so that your money is now out there making you more money in investments. Okay, so in year 4, let's say that your business is now growing to $700,000 of revenue, and you're now purchasing more equipment, you're hiring more employees, you're systematizing everything more, and here's the core thing, guys, you're starting to pay your taxes, okay? If you were figuring out ways to get around paying taxes, year 4 is when you pay all your taxes, okay? You're gonna pay as much tax as you possibly can. You wanna show as much profitability on the business as you can, and the way that you do that is by reporting your income, the amount of profitability on the business to the IRS, paying the taxes on this. And guys, it's not going to feel comfortable and you're not going to want to do this, but it is key to selling the business for a bunch of multiples of what your revenue is in 2 years. Okay. So you have to pay your taxes. In year 4, you have to pay your taxes. And if you have any money left over, you should expand your investments as well. You're starting to get more revenue. You're getting closer to $1 million. You should be expanding your investments if at all possible. Okay. In year 5, you're going to do $1.2 million. So by year 5, you're going to have this whole thing figured out. You're going to have more employees involved. You're going to be systematized and you're going to be capable of potentially doubling the business in year 5. So let's just say that you're going to go from 700,000 to 1.2 million in revenue. A chunk of that's going to be profitability. You're now building out a system of employees. You're building refinement and consistency and quality. There's a lot of things going for you with the business at this point. So you're going to focus on growth. You're going to figure out how to systematize more. You're going to figure out how to get your expenses lower. So guys, in year 5, you're really trying to cut out any sort of unneeded expenses. You're really dialing in your expenses because you need to show as much profitability on this business as possible. If you're doing 1.2 million, you want to be trying to show 25% or 30% profitability and then paying the taxes. I know it's painful to do this, but guys, it's key to actually becoming a millionaire here. Okay. You have to pay taxes in those last 2 years. In year 4 and year 5 have to pay taxes, because the value of your business when you decide to sell it is going to be based on the last 2 years of taxes. Okay. We're going to get into that in the chart now below, but this is the 5-year plan on the things that you need to be doing. And then of course, if at all possible, continue to pump some money into investments, getting that money to work for you in the background passively while you're building the business. The two are going to work together to get you to the net worth that you're trying to get to. Okay, so now that you have spent 5 years building this business and you've gotten it to $1.2 million of revenue, let's take a minute to figure out what the valuation of your business is. Let's say that you got 5 to 10 employees, they run the system, built it, you're now bringing in $1.2 million in revenue. Of that $1.2 million of total revenue and total sales, let's say that you have a 25% profit margin, which would end up being $300,000 a year. So you bring in 1.2 million of top line revenue and you're making $300,000 of profit. Now guys, when you're trying to figure out what your business is valued at, it's not really based on the revenue. Like, it does not matter what your top line revenue is. It doesn't matter how much you're doing in sales. What matters is how much profit you're making. That's the only thing that anybody cares about. So the number that people are looking at is $300,000. And what they're willing to do is they're willing to pay you a multiple of what your business profit is every single year based on your taxes. Okay. And you have to pay the taxes because it has to be official profit based on the IRS and what the IRS is showing for profitability. Okay. So let's say in this scenario, you are making $300,000 of profit every single year. Well, when you go to sell the business is typically worth somewhere between 2 and 4 times multiple of whatever your profitability is. Okay. So on the low end, it might be worth 2 times your $300,000 for the year. So maybe 600,000. On the higher end, it might be worth 1.2 million. Let's just assume that it's somewhere in the middle. Let's say that you can get a 3x multiple on your profitability for your business. So if you wanted to sell your business, put it up on bizbuysell.com and you could list it for sale. And let's assume in this scenario with $300,000 of profit, you can potentially sell it for a 3x multiple, which would mean $900,000. Okay. And let's say that you work out a deal and you sell your business for $900,000. Okay. Now, after 5 years, you've built this business, it's systematized, it's got a good operator, it's running on its own, it's got 5 to 10 employees, it's doing $300,000 of revenue, and it's worth, as a system that you can sell, $900,000 is what it's valued at if you want to sell this to somebody else that might want to take it over and run it passively as well and just collect their $300,000 every single year. So the way that you get to your millionaire net worth after 5 years is your business is the core chunk of it. Your business is worth $900,000. Okay. So you've got $900,000 coming in on the sale of that business. Okay. And then if you have some other investments that you've taken the time, let's say you bought up a house or something like that, let's just assume that your investments have netted you about $100,000. You have about $100,000 of investments. So the two together, $900,000 plus $100,000 in investments, equals $1 million. That's how you can realistically get to $1 million in net worth over the course of 5 years as a blue collar business operator. Key here is business operator. And so as you can see, the core thing that you're trying to do here, guys, in this first million that you're trying to make is you have to figure out how to build a profitable business that is systematized, that runs on its own with employees. This is the core objective that you're figuring out how to do in blue collar work. Figure out how to do that, and then you figure out how to sell it. That's how you're gonna get your first $1 million as quickly as possible. Okay, that pretty much wraps up this video on how to become a blue collar millionaire in 5 years or less. On to the next.